So welcome everybody. So Luminar Neo, this is started with a media release, and they, I guess mentioned earlier, they came out with an early access version. So I was a little confused about that. So we're going to be using the early access because it's the latest, newest version that Skylum has released. And so my name is David Crooks. I'm the organizer of the Virginia Beltway Photography Meetup group. And let's dive into it. So what is Luminar Neo? It's a creative image editor driven by AI technologies. It empowers creators, is some of the media stuff, to bring their boldest ideas to life and enjoy doing it. So one of the main things is to have fun with it, with editing. So they did create a new engine that they created from scratch. And so it says it's a completely different engine than Luminar AI does. So you can kind of more or less, I mean, not direct replacements of like Photoshop and Lightroom. So Luminar Neo and Luminar AI, they're kind of in the same vein. You can kind of think of it in broad sense. Obviously, they're not replacements. Luminar Neo is not a replacement for Photoshop at all. It's, obviously Photoshop's been so much a mature product in, I don't know what, 25 years or something. So there's no way they're going to replace that. And same with Lightroom. So next slide. How does Luminar Neo fit in? It's the newest AI-based creative image editor. Luminar AI was the first AI-based image editor. Photoshop has added their own AI stuff in there, but this is all based on AI technologies. The Luminar 4 has come to end of life. I did get that confirmed finally today. And so if you're a Luminar 4 user, they're gonna, Scott wants you to upgrade to the Luminar Neo when it comes out. So when will Luminar Neo be released? The early bird release is slated to be a week before the main release. So if you're an early bird purchaser, you bought that version, you're going to get it before everybody else does. And that's why you're also going to get this early access version that we're going to be talking about today. The main release of, they say now is going to be the end of February. They say like end of winter, which I think more like February, so March. I mean, I guess it could slide into March, worst case, but I think end of February is probably when it'll be out. And there's a 30-day satisfaction guarantee policy that starts on the date of the official release of the software. So that's, if for any reason you start using it and it doesn't fit what you're expecting or anything like that, you can ask Skylum for your money back, and no questions asked, give you your money back. So what's in the media release early access? So again, I'm an affiliate with Skylum. So any links that I have I send out with the Meetup group, and you purchase it through there, I do get a portion of that. So I've disclosed that. And so they sent the media release version to me, which is 0.9, just before the holidays. And then yesterday, the 28th, the Skylum announced their early access in its version 0.09.1. So it's available to anyone who, if you ordered the pre-release version, you can go to the Skylum website and you can log in, and there'll be a link there for you to log in and see your software, and you can download this version that we're going over today. So if you did the pre-order, you can download that today. I think an email came out from that. I got one today, but they told me about it yesterday to send everybody, to let my people know that it's for download. So if you haven't done it or have done it, doesn't really matter. We'll go over it tonight and And they do ask that you provide feedback, and they got support at skyhome.com until January 20th. And then also when you quit the app, you have a chance to fill out a survey. And so it is kind of like a paid public beta. So the interface might change and the code is not optimized. So I think some people were saying it's still kind of slow, like exporting and things like that. So it's not optimized code at all. So it's a beta, just to kind of get a feel of what's going on. And so the software will be updated throughout January and February. And then this is a link to the blog that has all the details from the email. And it's pretty extensive email or blog post. So what's in the early access? Like I said, it has a new engine, and it using one of the new features is this relight tool that lets you control lighting, and you can fix lighting problems if you had a portrait that was dark and we're trying to light up rooms. And we have some examples. This was in the technical demo that I did. This is now in this version along with the rest of some of the other features. So it's still kind of crippled. The tech demo was all it did was the 3 new features: relight and also the dust spots removal. And I'm not going to read all this for you. And the power lines. So those are 2 things that are in the race tool. So that's all the technical demo had, was just that. It was just the catalog and those 3 features. Now this early access version has a lot more things that you can get familiar with within Luminar Neo. So here's a demo. I give thanks to Rob Track. He provided some samples for the tech demo, and I'm going to still use those here. So let me minimize this so I can bring up. All right. So again, this is the catalog. This was the button up here that I was talking about that just brings up the survey. I was wondering what that heart was. So that's the same screen that happens when you close it. These are some of the photos that we played with back in the tech demo, with power lines and dust spots and things like that. These portraits come in. They come with came with these 5 images, and then we brought in another 20. So let's dive right in. So let's start with this one. And then let's kind of double click on it, bring up the edit screen. And there we go. So you see on the right, it has all the tools. That's pretty much, and I usually, because I use the Luminar's AI almost every day. I used to use Lightroom for my cataloging, my images. Then I export out to Luminar AI, and I usually just go down the list and whatever I need. So some of the things are kind of overlapping, and that is one of the biggest questions: how much? I'm guessing there is going to be some overlap on whether in the future I probably won't need Luminar AI anymore. I'll be able to get all the tools I need right in Neo. So that's probably pretty much the way it's going to work, and what software to be using. I guess similar, analogies, the same people who use Photoshop and use Bridge and Camera Raw, they're not going to touch Lightroom anymore, or don't use it at all. They're just in Photoshop. So it's going to be the same way here. So I can go down. I usually do crop, one of the first things. So that is one of the things on top, and they've kind of abbreviated this. And I've always, one of the first things, I think they've kind of listened to or seen the people. The first thing I always did is to make sure the horizon's straight. And so I click that. Image doesn't really show the horizon, so it doesn't really affect anything. I usually do the crop AI, and you can change the ratio to whatever. It has lots of options there. Sometimes I'll go free, or if I wanted a 4x5 or 16:9 kind of pano, I'll do the ratio that way. If I do the crop AI, I push that. Now it's thinking. So it did a little thing. Generally, I don't even agree with what it's done, but I kind of just take a look at it. Most of the time, I want to dive in a lot closer with like wildlife and birds and things like that. I want to zoom in as close as I can with the birds, but it gives you kind of a good starting point. And one of the things I like, if you notice when I drag this in, actually it gives me the width and height. And so based on this image, it's, if you're in a full raw image, this is not a raw image. You can go down to like 1920 or whatever, so you know exactly how big you're cropping in, so don't do it. So then I'm going to undo that, and you just click on the same row to close that. For the develop, let's see, let's jump down to your erase tool. It's pretty good if you have played with like some of the erase tools in Lightroom and Photoshop. It's pretty good, almost as good as Photoshop, but it does a pretty good job. But they added the power lines, and here's the dust spots, and we'll get to some images that have dust spots in it. So if I just click a button and wait a couple seconds, I mean, yeah, I can go through and erase line by line, but probably not that fast. And it didn't do a 100% job, which I probably will report to support, because it should have picked this up. I don't see why it would not pick up a power line like that. I mean, that's pretty obvious power line that shouldn't be there. But I can just go across here with the erase tool, clean up a couple things there, and then this quick erase. Excuse me, get a drink of water, and it's gone. There might be a little artifact. Had a little artifacting last time. I was kind of curious, and that's kind of cleaned it up a little better. So that's one example of the moving power lines. And close that. As you see, it has all the rest of you got your whole develop module. So this is your, so essentially your everything that you have in Lightroom develop module. You even got some sharpness, noise reduction. Even do the optic corrections. And the smart contrast is pretty good. Add contrast. There is a thing here for masking as well. So that's all within the essentials. You can add mask now. There's supposed to be mask AI added on as a separate tool. Say if I wanted to say mask the sky or whatever, mask a road, that's supposed to happen in upcoming features. So I can close that. Enhance. You can kind of enhance the photo. I did notice this photo does have some noise. I was wondering how much like noise reduction. It doesn't really say noise AI or anything like that compared to, you can kind of play around with the sliders. And that's one of the nice things with software. You just test it out. I do like the vignette. I And I go to like 50 or 60. So I just know where 52 is. And it does a pretty subtle vignette. And you don't want something too obvious. It's kind of done over there. Looks like I'm even getting some, wonder if that'll go away. A little artifacting going on there. So it's interesting. So then the other new one is the relight. It probably won't affect too much with this image, but you can brighten it up. Everything in the foreground and foreground. And you can change the depth of it. So we'll play with that in one of the other interior images. One thing that was going down this list is a portrait. It was kind of disappointing that they took some of the portrait features out and only left in skin, which obviously doesn't affect this image at all, but it's like there is other, even in the Luminar AI has more portrait features, including bokeh, where if you have an image, you can add bokeh to the background. But that's not here. And it just has super contrast and color harmony. But it does kind of like keep a history of everything that I did. So if you want to go back and change it, this is part of that new engine. Where within Lightroom, we kind of were stuck with here. You can go back to these edits and you can play around with what you actually did. You want to discard it or do something else that shows you what all the edits in a history mode there. Are there any questions? Anybody out there? We're ready to look at the next image. Let me go back in here because I do want to show that you can export from here too. That's one thing that did not have in the tech demo. So you can save the disk or to messages or to mail. And you can set those up. I guess it's supposed to have some of the other social media things also. So here's another power line image. I think I had to brighten this one up a little bit to work. We'll try it. Go to the tools. Crop relight. Kind of brighten up the image some. There we go. And we go to the erase tool. Go remove power lines. I know it had some trouble within those trees. But I think it did pretty good. There's still some artifacting though. You kind of see some artifacting with that, but actually did pretty decent job through the tree. Well, in the trees, it's not that good. So that's another one out there to share with support. I think I had a little better, but it was definitely even artifacting. I think this one was even worse because it's so dark. There actually are power lines down here. But again, it's because it's so I'll brighten this up a lot so I can really see the power lines. And click of a button, they're gone. So that's the power lines. Won't get rid of power poles, the telephone poles, just the power lines. So let me go back to here. These were some of the images that Rob submitted. I think this one was, yeah, definitely one that's dust spots in it. So I can quickly show you that. Click a button. It'll analyze the whole image and it's chugging. Thinking about it. I'm running this on a couple-year-old MacBook Pro, so it's not the beefiest machine. With the so there you, it's done.
Memory do you have in your Mac?
Say that again, Rowan.
How much memory do you have in your Mac?
I think it's pretty basic. I'm not sure off the top of my head. It's a pretty basic machine.
Oh, 8 gigabytes.
Probably, yeah. I don't think I have 6. Probably, yeah, probably 8. Yeah. Yeah. With the AI stuff, it does take a lot of memory. So if you're thinking about buying a new computer, I would say 32 gigs the best, more the merrier. When Lenny in our group got one laptop that's 40 gigs. So it's like actually set. Here's another one with probably the same camera. The dust spot. I did ask Rob Trucks. He thought he said last time he had one with like stars. If the software could tell the difference between a star and a dust spot, but he couldn't find one. There you go. And here we can also play with the relight. We can also show you the we can show some of the sky replacement. I haven't added any skies to this one. I would, I generally take my own skies. I don't use everybody else's skies. It's my it's my artwork, not somebody else's. But it comes with some built in. So there you go. And even did some of the reflection in the water. Even not too bad. I was having some trouble with that with the previous version. The AI is supposed to have the reflection. That doesn't. I mean, it's pretty passable. So go on to the next one. If anybody has questions, feel free to pop up to if you have any questions. I was kind of skip. I thought there was a couple others down here. Yeah, I think these also have dust spots in them. I think Rob said one of these had like 25 dust spots in it. So Again, I'm just double clicking and open up the edit tool. And let's go down to erase, remove despots. Kept getting confused with my own dirty screen. It's like, is that a despot or is that my screen? I was thinking, and they're gone. I think there were some spots in there. Like I said, the tool is pretty good for, here you can make sure the horizon is straight. It was a little bit crooked. And then you can crop it or just leave it as it is. And what else can we do here with this one? It's got a little more things we can play around with.
Light in the foreground.
Yeah, let's do light of the foreground and near. I'll crank it to 100. I know it, or just see what it does, and then got a lot of flaring going on, which you could use the erase tool. We don't like the flaring. That brought out some more detail in the rocks there. I think you can even do negative on the far and make the actual sky darker. And you see the depth when it starts at the bottom and keeps moving up, so you can control that. And it goes so far. So that's a little better. Obviously, we'll probably spend one more time. It's really interested in doing that. Throw a little super contrast because it highlights contrast, midtones, and then shadows. You can balance those out. And where'd they move? That's one thing I didn't remember. They had the preview, and this is it. Before and after. There we go. So that's before, that's after. So a pretty dramatic difference in that. I was talking and moving at the same time, so if you really focus on it, you probably get a couple minutes. Make a dramatic difference. So another one with dust spots. So yeah, we can, let's see, erase. Remove dust spots. There's some around here. Does anybody have any questions? Someone in the chat. Light in the foreground, not the sky. Yeah, I think that's what the relight. Yeah. Yeah, definitely light in the foreground. I think I demonstrated that. Still think about the dust spots. Okay, so those are moved. And I can kind of show that here. I can brighten up the foreground, relight. Right near. So I brighten up the beach and not the sky. If I want to do the sky, I can do that as well. We might have had a polarizer or something on the one corner so bright or darkening. And sometimes you can get halos. And you can also warm up. So I can warm up the beach. So without this, I think the had some color in the sunset, the sunrise, had some color to the sky itself. So again, before and after. And I think the performance is going to be better in the full release. It seemed like it was even better, the technical version, but it also didn't have all the other options. So it was a lot lighter application. I guess there's some dust spots here. So I'm curious, is everybody that's on the call, have you guys used Luminar at all, some form or another? Or is this the first time? Say that again, Roland?
I used 4 before.
Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, Luminar 4's they're not going to be doing any more updates on it. So you can still use it, obviously. It's not going to die. You can still use it until they come up with the masking and all that, because that's one of the features that Luminar 4 has. There, remove the dust spots there. And what else can we do with this? More light. I'm not sure where, I guess that's with the depth. I probably would cut some of these things out in the bottom. It'd also be a pretty good one for sky replacement. So anyway, just play around with the different sliders. I think there's like one more, or maybe 2 more. I think this one had quite a few spots in it. So you gotta make sure your horizon's level. I think this one's pretty good. And then you erase. Remove the spots. Quite a few up here. Still thinking. There we go. Yeah, I got rid of all those spots up there. I'll keep going unless anybody wants to play around with some of these other images. And this was a pretty good one for the with the relighting. First, I'll get rid of this. Whoa, and it crashed on me. That was nice. Not during a demo. Trying to close this to the Luminar AI. Still there? There we go. Yeah, crashed with images. Bummer. It is a beta. So lasted for a little while. Let's try to open this one again. Doesn't want to start up again. Again. Called Demo Hell. I've been a software developer many years and know well familiar about Demo Hell. So let me wait a little while for it to load before I do anything. Nope, it's not liking. Not liking to run today. Come on. Nope. Damn. I wonder, it was. I'll try again. I think we might be at a lost cause here. Yes. Don't try again. Let's see. In this version, this no. I'll have to see which is which now. I might be confused. It's expired. That's nice. I think that's the media version. Yeah, Art, I can address the save as. If I can get it started again, I can show you the screen, but you can't export it I think you can do it not a new raw file, but it's a TIFF file or JPEG. It has a bunch of other options as well, so you can export it as a file. And I guess eventually it will be used as a plugin, but this version is not used as a plugin; it's just used as standalone. So let me get back to see if I can start this up again. Otherwise, this might be the end of the presentation. Okay. All right, so this one, we're gonna go over to file about. This is 0.90, so this is the media version. So since the early access version is not behaving, let's see if we can, and you see it just right in the same catalog and everything. That is one of the things that, one of the issues was if you have, like, like you roll in and have different catalogs already in Luminar 4 and AI, they have said that they're going to make those so you can migrate those to Neo. You'll be able to go back and forth. So you're not going to get stuck on that. I need to move this out of the way. Let's go back to edit. Okay. Now we're back running. I can show you here, Art. Here's the disk and connect. Not sure exactly what connects. Maybe it's like another service like like Facebook or Instagram probably. And then go to disk. And then here's, you can save it as a name, give it some tags, where you're going to do it. You want to add some sharpening. You want to resize it, you can do different sizing. You can change the color space. So you can go to Pro Photo, even WS, RGB and sRGB. And then here's your format. And so here's your PNG, TIFF, JPEG 2000, Photoshop, and PDS, right? And also PDF file. So I haven't really played around with those, but it is nice that those formats are there. You can change the quality. I think this is going to export. See how long it takes. Because some people say it really is dragging. It probably depends on which options you're picking also. I don't think that was too fast. I mean, too bad, too slow. So anyway, let's remove some dust spots. You see up here. And dust spots removed. This one's a lot faster than the other one even. I thought that was taking a little longer. This is the media version. So I'm not sure what they added to their early access. I'm gonna go in here and see. This also had the one more options in the crop tool they took out. So that straightens the horizon. And we wanted to get a relight. I thought this was pretty good. You can change this whole dark area here. You can go extreme 100 and it brings out all the shadows there. And then you can, like I said, control the depth of it. Give that 100 and it brightens up that. That's what you wanted. And then again, you can I've never really seen too much halos, but nice for an option there. And then warm up the colors. So back in business. So this one even had more options for the portrait that they took out of the early release. And some of these rooms really demonstrate to do the relighting. And bring out the shadows. Kind of fix tone it down in the back. Kind of fix it out there. I think last time we even took out this TV. Just with the erase tool. It seemed like it did a pretty good job. What they do say about using this erase tool is, I mean, I kind of did probably too much, but we'll see how long it takes. But generally do a little bit at a time. You're doing a lot of erasing all at once. Yep, so there you go. I think I missed one little spot because my status thing was covering it. So there you go. I think I spent a lot of time on it, but it's pretty good and things like that. So is there anything else? Another one of Rob's interiors. Use the ring light. Look, it's very sharp. There we go. So you can kind of negative, bring back some of the overexposed. You can add a little warmth to it. It's not such a cold space. I think this wasn't a spot. I think it was part of a light fixture. I think even if I take back the exposure, those were actually screws in the light fixture. So I can clean those up. So you usually tell it's thinking. The Luminar Neo changes colors. There we go. It didn't do a great job on that. It probably should have made it smaller. But anyway. Get the idea. All right. So it's about 8 o'clock. Stop. Call me. So unless anybody has any questions, anything you want to see?
You do it black and white.
Good question. I really see.
Or one the top left,
Pardon?
the top left, the colorful houses there.
Let's see.
Maybe
Kind of.
the black and white.
Let's see. Develop color and black and white. Yeah. Yeah. So I convert this black and white. And it's got all the sliders. Saturation, luminance. So yeah, with a click of a button, convert to black and white. Did I answer your question?
Have they released a Neo version for Photoshop plugin?
What about Photoshop?
Have they released a plugin version for Photoshop? You use this as a standalone, right?
Yeah. In the release version, it will be used as a plugin. That's your question? Yeah. You can use it as a plugin for Photoshop or Lightroom. And I think like Photos, Apple Photos also is the other application that will plug into. I think it will not do Photoshop Elements, but most people just have Photoshop and Lightroom or one of the other tools. Any other questions?
Demo, thank you, David.
Think about it.
No,
Did you order the pre-release or?
that was a good demo.
Okay. No, thank you. Thank you. So we figure out where to stop on recording. I can stop sharing unless anybody has any questions. And then I can stop recording.